Which meeting do you think is getting more attention or is more important, the G7 in Japan or the Arab League summit?
Oh, of course, the Arab League summit is by far the more important. The G7 is just, I mean, the G7 hasn't done anything useful for decades. I mean, it just brings together the leaders of the West, the collective West, as everybody now calls it, by the way. The Russians coined that expression, just to say. But it brings together the leaders of the collective West. They issue this enormously long communiques that they do. They come up with all these various assertions, statements, broad brush statements about, the state of the world and all of that. They're going to impose more sanctions on the Russians because what else can they do? And that's the only positive actual thing that they would do. But the real decisions are now being made elsewhere. And the Arab League summit shows us that the important decisions are now being made in Riyadh. Assad is coming to Riyadh. Well, he is actually in Riyadh. He's in Saudi Arabia. That is an actual decision. I mean, a decision by Saudi Arabia and Syria to reconcile. That is an actual decision. That is something that changes the geopolitical system. What is going to come out of Japan, the G7, is just hot air.
I mean, sanctions and more sanctions and more sanctions, and it's just more bellicose rhetoric against Russia and China and our values. But the Arab League, I mean, they're gonna do business.
Yes. Yes.
What do you expect to come out of this summit? I mean, we're going to see real big shifts take place.
Well, the first thing that is going to happen, the first item on the agenda, is to get the American troops out of eastern Syria. I mean, the Turks are leaving. Erdogan wants them to go. It was his idea to send them there in the first place. I think he now recognizes that this is a big mistake. He wants to find some kind of face-saving way to pull the troops out. If the Turkish opposition were to win the elections, which I don't think anybody seriously expects now, they would pull those troops out even faster. So all that's left is the American troops in Syria. So with Syria back in the Arab League, America is illegally occupying Arab land. And that's, I think, something which people haven't understood internationally, but that's what people are going to start saying. You're going to see increasing pressure from the Arab states for the American troops to leave eastern Syria. And sooner or later, they will have to go. But that's the first item on the agenda. The second is increasing integration of the Arab states in the Eurasian system, and that inevitably means a steady movement away from